As we've been talking about, this year marks 20 years since 3,000 people lost their lives in the September 11th terrorist attacks. It's a topic filled with emotion for those who remember that day. But how do you explain that emotion and that loss to those who weren't even born yet? Joining me now is 9 News parenting expert, Dr. Sheryl Ziegler. Dr. Ziegler, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, to start out, you recently had a conversation with your own children about 9/11. How did that go?
Yeah, it's actually been an ongoing conversation that was brought up by my 11-year-old. And out of nowhere, it seemed, and in the car, he said, "Why is 9/11 this year so important?" And it kicked off this conversation that was actually very emotional for me. I didn't expect that to happen, but it was like explaining every detail to him why it was important. And I think this year we may get more questions from kids because this is simultaneous to our withdrawal from Afghanistan. And so there's a lot going on in history. And so I think it really was a moment for me to realize my own emotion around it, as well as kind of explaining history to him and really helping him understand why this is so important.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty easy to relate some of the facts, but when it comes to the feelings, I'm guessing that's much harder. How much do children comprehend? Is there such a thing as too much?
There is. I mean, there can be too much. I think there's a couple of things to think about when you're talking about 9/11 or any other emotional historical moment. Sometimes this comes up for people as well with talking about the world wars or Auschwitz and, Germans and Nazis. There's a lot of different issues that can bring up emotion. And so I think that first and foremost, actually, it's your own experience with it that you need to be in touch with. So some people can talk about 9/11. Maybe they felt removed for it. Maybe they're not from the area or they didn't have someone directly, affected by it. So they can talk about it much more factually. And then there are some people who need to know that this is a loaded topic for them. Maybe they did lose somebody that they loved. Maybe they were there. And so it becomes a very different issue. So first and foremost, I would say just be in touch with your own feelings around it. Really think ahead of time what they're going to maybe ask you and be prepared for those questions, because the emotional part is definitely what they're going to remember more than the facts that you tell them.
I understand you've had some questions about all of this from your own clients. What have they been asking you?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, and that about a week and a half ago is when my own child brought it up, and then I've been paying attention and noticing what are other kids bringing up. So some of the questions that I got asked were, why those buildings? So what did that represent? Is essentially what they were asking. Why do they hate us so much? How did they get this plan in place? How did they know to do it? And ultimately, just last night, somebody said, could something like this happen again? And I think those are some really hard questions that us as parents and also maybe as a community need to think about how we're going to answer.
Yeah, great questions and difficult questions to answer for sure. Dr. Ziegler, as always, we appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.